Hey y'all, so I'm live. Let me tell you, today has been a day. Now, currently, I am working on my business proposal and I'm downsizing and I'm becoming more precise about what I need for my business proposal. I'll get into the topic, of course, but I want to kind of like vent. Not even vent, but like recap. So, what's on my chest? What's on my heart? What's on my head? But anyways, so it's a lot. And then you got to think about operations. You got to think about the things that you need, how much it costs, like what do you need the initial front money versus what you will need monthly. And it's a lot. And I'm just like, oh Lord. Oh Lord. It's good in theory. And I'll say to like any business owner or someone who wants to get into business, it's good because it makes you have to think and break down everything that you need, not just what you think you might need, but like even the small things like, okay, I'll need a printer, I'll need printing paper, I'll need, a stapler, I'll need a hole puncher, I'll need this, that, and the third. And it makes you really very keen on whatever business that you are planning to do, what the needs will be. And of course, all businesses are not the same. Of course, all businesses are not set up the same. But nonetheless, planning for a business is just as much work as having the business established and um, doing that day-to-day grind of a business owner. So that's what I've been working on just since yesterday, honestly. And yesterday I just was not in the mood. I had a serious headache and I really couldn't live stream. But I put in some work today. I did some good stuff and now I'm live streaming. So people will come in as they so choose to, but I'm gonna just jump right into it. I don't like waiting. I'm not that patient. I'm being honest with you. I'm a Taurus, but also it's just like, look, if you miss something, you could always hit that replay. Like that's what it's there for. I'm not gonna delete the video. At least I don't think I'm gonna delete the video. But we're gonna talk about Black women, hypersensitivity, codependency, low self-esteem, and trauma bonding. What happened? All that good stuff. Of course, I'm being sarcastic because none of that stuff is actually good. But I want to talk about it because it's très important. And the reason why it's important is because I think Black women lack the ability to see themselves. Black women see themselves through other lenses, see themselves through the male gaze, see themselves through white racism, see themselves through rose colored glasses, but they don't really see themselves and see the way they maneuver throughout the world and why they are perceived in a certain way. For example, with hypersensitivity, Black women are easily triggered. And I would know. I'm a whole Black woman in these streets. Uh-oh. Is this streaming? What's going on? What's going on? Anyways, as I was saying, if you hear background, if you hear noise in the background, I live in an area that has kids. It's locked down and kids are not going to school, so they fool lying outside and have. And no one's in the chat yet to let me know if I'm tripping or if you two's tripping. Okay, no more buffering, I don't think. But anyways, I'm not gonna stop and restart. I hate that. We're gonna continue on. Like I was saying, hypersensitivity. Black women lack self-awareness. Black women in particular lack the way other people perceive them. And that's not to say that you need to have imposter syndrome or you need to worry or uh, ruminate on what other people think about you, because whatever anybody thinks about you is their personal problem. That's their rhyme, that's their reason, that's their season. That's not anything that has to do with you. However, Black women in particular need to be aware of how they come across as well as their hypersensitivity. Hypersensitivity in the sense of Black women issues, whether it's racial, whether it's gender, whether it's sexual, whether it's whatever, any type of oppressive system, oppressive whatever, is not your rhyme, it's not your reason, it's not your burden to take on. This I need to save the world thing, this muling thing, this putting on the cape thing annoys people. It rubs people the wrong way, as well as it is unbecoming because only you play this role. And when you play this role, you don't even get any type of benefit from said role, as well as you wear yourself down. That hypersensitivity, no one can say anything, no one can do anything without you trying to recite a speech, without you trying to bring out all types of dissertations, without you feeling the need to save the world. But who saves the Black woman? When you're being raped at 60% plus, who's saving you? When you are being dragged in these streets, Black bitches bring dark days. Who's saving you? When you're being told that you're just a baby mama, or you're facing denigration or physical violence, who's saving you? This hypersensitivity of you can't tell me nothing, I am the world's savior, and this psychosis, this mental illness, and I'm gonna tell you, this pro-Black shit is not only a scam, but it's a mental illness. It's a mental, like, do you hear yourself? Do you see yourself? It's a combination, in my personal opinion, it's a combination of borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, bipolar. It's a combination of dissociative personality disorder. And of course, I'm nobody's psychiatrist. Of course, I'm nobody's therapist. So I'm not gonna necessarily in this video be like 60% of Black women. No, but the way that you lack self-perception, the fact that you lack self-awareness, the fact that you do these things on the repetitive basis and just so shocked that you don't get the reception that you want, that people do perceive you as angry, people do perceive you as masculine, the fact that I can say something as, you know what, there's a certain group of people I don't want to live next to, and then you all of a sudden take that as a personal attack. That's not a personal attack, as opposed to these are the actual and factuals. The fact that anything ever happens to a Black person, you don't even give a damn if you're on the wrong side of history. You just have to say something because said person is quote unquote marginalized or quote unquote Black. Especially if it's a Black man, because Lord knows the Black woman loves the Black phallus. If there's nothing else you can bet on, Black women will harbor, Black women will protect, Black women will favor the Black phallus even before her Black vagina. That hypersensitivity is what gets you got all the time. And Black women are the first ones to jump off the porch and try to rescue someone, jump off the porch and be someone's advocate, even when they are throwing daggers at your back. Let's use the case of Stephon Clark. Dark bitches bring dark days. There were actually Black women trying to spin the narrative and make that some type of mistake, or if he was still alive he would have changed his opinion. Really? Because Aldrich Cleaver, as pro-Black as he was, married to a Black woman in a Black cause movement, whatever you want to call it, had no problem slandering Black women's names, to the fact that he practiced raping little Black girls who would eventually progress in his predatory rapist methods to rape white women. He died of old age. But if he was still ticking and kicking, he probably would have still been doing the same thing. This narrative of everybody's the victim, this narrative that you got to play Jesus. And who saves the Black woman? Who rescues the Black woman? Who has the Black woman's back? And I think Black women, as a collective, especially those who identify as pro-Black, the reason why y'all want to save everybody is because no one saved you. You're hoping that the more you play this sacrificial role, someone will come out the cut and save you. Someone will come out the cut and rescue you. Because no one rescued you when your molester trusted uncle was molesting you. No one saved you when the boys on the block were jumping you and kicking you and beating you and calling you all types of darkies. No one was saving you when you were pumped and dumped and left to be a baby mama. So you feel that need to save everybody else, and they don't ask you to save them. And for any man to hide behind a woman, it is a punk. It's straight up a punk. Now you can say all this equal rights and feminism and all that other shit. Women want equal rights so they can have their own. Black women want equal rights so they can take the brutality of black men. We are not talking the same things. The collective of women are not talking the same thing. Women wanted to be able to have their own. So if this man gets crazy and tries to whoop on her or use her as a sex slave or tries to financially abuse her, she could always be like, I got my own. I wish you would. Black women want equal rights so they can take the bullets, so they can take the tear gas, so they can take the prison sentences along with their naked sons and their naked baby daddies. I would say husbands, but your nakers aren't marrying you like that. So baby daddies is the correct term. This hypersensitivity thing is what turns people off. It's very annoying. It's very um immature, because you remind me of teenagers when or young people in their early 20s when they think they know it all. You can't tell them nothing. The world should be like this. I'm going to be the one to change the world. I'm going to be the one to make a difference. Everybody should think like this. Everybody should act like this. I got all the answers. As if they were the first person to think the thoughts that they had. As if they were the first one to see injustice, the first ones to see oppression, the first one to see unfairness. And they swear up and down that they're going to be so different than everybody else. You can't tell them nothing because they have no life experience. But peep them in their mid 20s, peep them in their late 20s. The narrative changes. Why? Because you get older, you get wiser, you have life experience. You see, that's not it. But black women are refusing to grow up. Black women are refusing to put themselves first, to have self preservation. You're still stuck in 1970s pro black shit. Do you know there's drones? Do you know there's bio warfare? Do you know there's certain weaponry? It would dismantle you. It would disintegrate you by the time you say pro black. This system's not playing with you. These Wakanda fantasies is going to get you fucked up. Your idols are either dead or in prison. They didn't live such a grandiose lifestyle. Angela Davis had to get her haul ass and get the fuck up out of the pro-black shit because she was facing a long prison sentence because she was linked up to a naker, George Jackson, who done shot a police officer and a federal judge on some Bonnie and Clyde shit. And Angela Davis was linked to that. And if her ass didn't haul ass and have support and education behind her, she would have been serving a life sentence. Believe that. And if it wasn't for the white women and the white men who knew her, she spoke at least at least another language. She spoke German, but even probably another language as well. She went to higher education. She had higher education and she went to prep school. If it wasn't for the fact that she had a pristine background and she got caught up in the pro-black shit and people knew her and people liked her, oh, she would have been serving that prison sentence. Believe that. Asada Shakur, what kind of life is it for you to be in a foreign land? You can never see your kids. You can never reach out to your sister and say Happy Mother's Day or Happy Birthday because the feds are watching. The fact that you can't go outside and just take a breather, you always have to be in hiding. What kind of life is that? What kind of life is that? You become a symbol of cosplay. No different than everybody knows the Malcolm X quotes. Everybody knows how to dress in the persona. You become a fad. You become a trend. But no one gives a damn about you, or if you pass, gives a damn about the people who are involved with you, the people who are related to you. When Malcolm X was assassinated, you know the Nation of Islam turned their back on Betty and them kids, right? The Nation of Islam even tried to evict Betty and them kids out their house. The Nation of Islam wasn't fucking with Malcolm X, nor were they fucking with his wife and his daughters. They looked at them as enemy number one. They looked at them as the problem. And guess what? They had to separate themselves from the Nation of Islam, not because they hated the Nation of Islam, but because the Nation of Islam hated them. Now, fast forward, history is being rewritten. Now, the son of the Nation of Islam always loved Malcolm. But that wasn't the case when it was happening and unfolding. So you keep on with the hypersensitivity and you keep on being triggered, you're going to find your ass like Corinne Gaines. You're going to find your ass like Sandra Bland. You're going to find your ass like Erica Gardner. Poor, overweight, distressed, and dead in your, what, late 20s, early 30s of a heart attack. No nigger in sight. Not even want to call the police when you hit that rigor mortis. Keep playing. Because the system's not playing with you. Keep playing. Because they got a burial site for your ass too. That hypersensitivity is going to get your ass got. That codependency is going to get your ass got. Each and every time. This brainwashing of sorts. This cult. Because this pro-black shit is a cult. If you look up the definition of what a cult is, it's a cult. You don't want to hear that because that sounds terrible to your ears. That sounds like needles, not even needles, but nails being scratched on a chalkboard. You don't like the sound of that. But it's a cult, no different than Heaven's Gate, no different than Carbon Nation, no different than People's Temple. It's a cult. It's a cult. That's why there's always new movements. There's more philosophies, more rhetorics, more this and it's a cult, and it oppresses the women. But it has you staying on with hope, clinging on to hope. The revolution will be televised. Televised in 2020, more like streamed. But who's gonna stream it? Netflix, Hulu, YouTube. You're clinging on to these ideologies that didn't make sense then, and it definitely does not make sense now. And it's all in favor of the Nakers at the destruction of black women. You wonder why people see black women as masculine because you do shit like pro-black shit. You do shit like mammy shit. You do shit like mule shit. And you look manic as fuck. You look manic as fuck when you do these. Have you ever seen a black woman in these protests, in these philosophy, in these debates and shit? Have you ever seen her face? Did you ever see her mannerism? She looks tapped. She looks out of her mind, out of her body. And what movement, what philosophy is embedded in you being mentally disturbed? Embedded in you being manic? Embedded in you losing your femininity? Embedded in you always being on the edge? How can this benefit you? Meanwhile, the men get to be king dingalings and swing their dingalings each and every way. While they're telling you, you need to stay 10 toes deep, 10 toes down. You need to catch a felony. You need to work like a workhorse. You need to breed recklessly. You need to do X, Y, and Z, everything to tear down your image as a woman. Meanwhile, they capitalize off of it. They pimp you. They break you. They harm you. They sell you. They demonize you. Everything is you. But you don't even have enough sense to put yourself first. This is insanity. This is cult shit. This is mental illness. But because you don't see yourself, you see yourself through these rose-colored lenses. You see yourself as a double agent of sorts. Y'all think this is the real-life version of the spook who sat by the door. You think, yeah, I'm in corporate America. I'm smiling in these white people's faces. I'm getting my education. But really, at heart, when the revolution calls, I'll be the first one in line. I'll be in the Front lines, take it down, white supremacy. Y'all are tapped. Y'all, this is a mental illness. This is a mental illness. But you don't see it like that because you refuse to see yourself. You don't have self awareness. You're not self reflective. And the nakers feed you the bullshit. Because what do they have to lose? They got felonies. They're worthless. They didn't get an education. They're at the bottom of the total pool. They're not men. What do they have to lose? When they feed you this bullshit, what do they have to lose? They're not even threatened by, they have no fret, and they're not threatened by leaving you to be baby mamas, not protecting their kids so their kids are always molested, the fact that they don't provide for their children. They don't care. They sincerely, from the bottom of their ball sack, don't care. So if they don't care about themselves, and they damn sure don't give a fuck about their kids, then what makes you think that they would give a fuck about the vessel that brings forth said kid? So if your image gets ruined in the mud, what does that do for them? Why would they care about that? Why would that bother them? You're dealing with men who truly and sincerely don't give a fuck about you, and give a fuck about your mental health, give a fuck about your physical health. They don't care. They see you as something to be used and abused and then discarded. Dark bitches bring dark days. They don't care. And I know the more you think doing the hypersensitivity thing, the codependency thing, that they'll eventually care, but I promise that they're not. They're not going to care. They don't care. They actually think it's funny not to care. They pat each other on the back when they break you. Whether it's on some bitches ain't shit but hoes and chicks, whether it's on some black men going their own way, regardless of what psychology, what fringe group that they join, the number one thing that glues them together is breaking the black woman, is pimping the black woman, is using the black woman, is degrading the black woman. And you're not going to be able to love a man out of hating you. You're not going to be able to force a man out of hating you. You're not going to be able to do tricks and leaps and bounds and obstacle courses and Olympian uh, uh, goalposts just to get a man to love you, because that's not how it works. And truth be told, it is the men who build. And men innately want to build for women because that's the way they flex. You think men go to the gym and get six the abs, the biceps, the not skipping a leg day and shit? You think they get all super muscular and Hulk like just for the fuck of it, just for the fun of it? They do that to impress women. You think men bust their asses in school and get a high paying job just so they can pump flex for their friends? They do it to attract women. Truth be told, they do everything to attract women. That's their goal in life. And it's really on a primitive level. Because it's the same thing with animals, certain birds who pump flex to get women's attention, or do the mating calls to get women to like them, or fight to the death with other birds or other creatures to win the affection of the female species. That's just what men do. And if women say they want men with the most gold tomorrow, guess, trust and believe me, men will be in the gold mines picking out gold, because that's just what men do. They vie for the attention of women. That's just what they do. But you playing this hypersensitivity codependency shit and then thinking that he'll eventually change his way and choose you, that's not even how science is set up. That's not even how it works. That's never how it worked. And you're not getting a good deal out of it. And y'all will sit there and be like, you don't care, you don't care. But I'm going to tell you when you start caring. You start caring when you realize that you got more burdens than a little bit. You start caring when you're getting older and you realizing that you ain't got a significant other, but you got baby kids, baby daddies. You'll start caring when you comparing those to other women and they got a better deal. Whether they're black, white, alien, whatever. You'll start caring when you realize that nobody else played that same stupid game. That's when you start caring. The fact that you are the breadwinner, the fact that you can't take a break, the fact that other women do have a significant other worth a damn, that's when you start caring. Because women have egos too. Women express their egos in different ways, but women have egos too. And when you start realizing that you got, but everybody else played smarter, that's when you start thinking, oh shit, I done fucked up. There'll be hateration. There'll always be hateration, but that's when you realize that, yeah, you done fucked up. Especially when you see other black women not playing the same game, then you know you done fucked up. Because you can always brush it off as it's white supremacy. That's why white women get better options in life. That's why Asian women get better options in life. But once you start seeing dark skinned Keisha from around the way get a better deal too, that's when you'll be like, oh shit, what happened? You're gonna be looking like that Mr. Krabs meme, all disheveled and confused. Like, what happened? How did dark skinned Keisha get a better deal? Dark skinned Keisha got a better deal because she woke the fuck up and she realized that hypersensitivity and codependency was a fucking game and she wasn't about to get her ass got. That's why dark skinned Keisha's winning. That low self esteem, like I've been saying on the Black Woman Vibes podcast, and I see a couple of people are watching. You can always, put something in the comments. Don't be scared. But that low self esteem is what gets you got. See, if you didn't have low self-esteem, you wouldn't be making such trash ass decisions and making excuses for trash ass decisions. And there wouldn't be a system that's built on your low self-esteem. If black women would just reel in their wounds, you wouldn't be impoverished. You wouldn't need government assistance. You wouldn't be overweight. You wouldn't be stressed out. You wouldn't have mental illnesses. Those are 5 different institutions that I just talked about who you literally butter their bread because of your poor decision making skills. There's whole institutions that are built around your bad decisions, and you feed them each and every day because of your low self esteem. And I am a firm advocate. I am the poster child for therapy, for mental health. You can never make me feel bad about it. You can never use it as a throw it back in my face type of thing, because therapy is a godsend. Everybody should go to therapy. My personal belief, everybody should go to therapy at least one time in their life. I didn't say one session. I said one time. So it could be a couple of sessions. It could be 4. It could be 10. It could be a year. It could be whatever. But you need to go to therapy. Because once black women can break that hypersensitivity, that codependency, then we'll break that low self-esteem and you will rise in the way that you see yourself, the way that you present yourself in the world, the way that you carry yourself, and you wouldn't make trash ass decisions. When you know that you that bitch, and not just on some Megan Thee Stallion shit, not on some like cocky shit, but you know your value, you know who you are, you know what you possess, you're not gonna do no trash ass shit like this pro-black cult. And you're also not gonna allow any man with crust on the side of his mouth, hot ass breath, hair all disheveled, smelling like dick cheese, run up in your face talking about, hey yo ma. You're not even gonna be in the same league for Ayo Ma to even be able to talk to you. But you gotta undo that baggage. You have to undo that baggage first and foremost. Because if you're still attracted to Ayo Ma, then that's what you're always gonna get. And then you're gonna get Ayo Ma in a wigger. You're gonna get Ayo Ma in a Latino naker. You're gonna get Ayo Ma in a different colored penis. Because that's the new thing y'all be into. Y'all be into, oh, I don't date nakers. But you like nakers light. You like nakers in cosplay. You like naker renditions. You like naker cosplay. So how are you far removed when, yeah, he's white, but he wears Jordans, he got gold chains, he wears a fitted, he listens to the Migos. How is he any different than the average naker? You just got a nigger painted white. What upgrade is that? If I'm gonna get a nigger, I'm gonna get the real thing. I'm not gonna get one that's cosplaying now. You need to stop with the hypersensitivity thing. You really need to stop with the codependency thing, and you really need to stop with the low self esteem because you just like funk, right? If you're accustomed to your own funk, you're not gonna smell yourself. It's gonna be a natural smell to you. It's gonna be something that's normalized. You're not gonna smell yourself because you're so accustomed to smelling like funk. But when you walk around other people, people gonna be like, ooh, ooh, girl, not in my face. You need to take a shower. You need to put on some deodorant. You need to put on some perfume. What's going on? Musty, crusty, not here. Better get the fuck on. Because you don't smell yourself. And the same thing with low self-esteem. It's a scent. People can pick on that. People can feed off that. Especially predatory people, especially predatory men. They have a type, and they can seek that out. They sift that out like a radar. They know what type of woman that they can take advantage. And it's not as bold as a smell, but it is a vibration. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you speak of yourself. It's the way, it is who you hang around with. Certain men, even as bottom feeders, they know what type of woman they can even step to versus the woman they can't step to, because it's literally the way that you carry yourself. And yes, like a moth to a flame, there will be Dussies who will try you. But just because a Dusty tries you does not mean that you have to give him a chance. And that's on period. Like, you don't have to give nobody a chance. Or you can give a selected few a chance. Or you can give somebody a chance and be like, I recant that. I done vetoed that. You not chosen no more. Boy, bye. You could do that. You're not beholden to nobody. Especially since you're single, you are not beholden to nobody. You a whole single lady in these streets. Oh. You don't owe nobody nothing. But a lot of y'all try to replay your trauma and think the rejection that you got in middle school, the rejection you got in high school, the rejection you got by your father, the rejection that you got by Nakers, you can replay that and have a do-over by a trash maker who done hit you with that Ayo Ma shit. And you can uh clean him up, educate him, love him, hold him down, whatever enough. So he can be qualified, but he will never be qualified. Because the thing about gravity, baby, it'll pull you down. It will not uplift you. If he's a bottom feeder, baby, the only thing that he could do for you is pull you down. And that's what they tend to do. That's what they tend to do. You're not going to find a bottom feeding naker be able to pull you up. Because no matter what he says, how he acts, how he presents himself, at the end of the day, his true colors will come out. And hopefully that BBC doesn't give you an STD or out of wedlock babies. Because that's tend to be the narrative. That tends to be the narrative. You have such high hopes, and he feeds into your illusions, your delusions, your trauma bonding, or whatever. And by the time you look up on some Mr. Krabs meme, all confused and shit, you realize you just like everybody else on the block. You just a baby mama. You just abandoned. You just in poverty. You just traumatized. You just got your ass whooped. You just like everybody else. And you swore you wasn't gonna be like them. You swore you wasn't gonna be like them. Your man is different. Maybe he got a little bit of education. Maybe he came from a two-parent background. Maybe he read a book or two. Oh, he's not gonna be like everybody else. My man's gonna be different. My man's not like that. My man, my fellas, my son, not my son. And then time just loses you. Because you're always back and forth fighting. You're always back and forth struggling. You're always back and forth on some fuck shit. And by the time you look up like it's the Mr. Krabs meme, time done passed you by, and guess what? You like everybody else. You swore up and down you wasn't gonna be like them other bitches, cause my man ain't like that. My hubby, because these niggas not married nobody. My hubby ain't like that. My baby doesn't like that. Our situation is different. We spiritually combined it. We don't need to combine whatever little bullshit that you need to hear. You sweat up and down. Your shit's gonna be different. You sweat up and down, and you believe it. That's the sad thing about it. And I'm not even gonna laugh. The sad thing about it is you truly believe that your shit's gonna be just that much different. Until you look up one day and you realize you're not that different. You're not that different, ma. And instead of comparing notes with the other women on the block, you sit there and you judge them because in reality, you can't judge yourself. That haughtiness, that ego. You that, oh, I'm always right. And I'm gonna have as many kids as I want to. Who gonna check me? I do what I want to do. I take care of my kids. I'm still a bad bitch. I can get me another man. You don't want to admit shit to yourself. What you should be doing is taking your L's, licking your wounds, going to therapy, and comparing notes with the other women to see what was the tactic, what was the agenda, what was the strategy. So you can teach the next woman not to get got, and you can learn to not get got for the second time. But because of that ego, that haughtiness, nobody can tell you nothing. Your pussy's made out of gold. Instead of taking that L, you keep doing the same goofy shit over and over and over and over and over again. And you see that clear as day on YouTube. You see that clear as day on the internet. You see that clear as day with the baby mama channels on YouTube. They can't admit shit. They can't take no L's. It's everybody else's fault. They're living in fantasies, illusions, delusions. You can't see yourself. You cannot self-reflect. You have no self-awareness. You have no perception because of that ego and that phallus. And you're not going to get it until you deep in that misery. Until you deeply are hurt, deeply bittered, deeply used and abused. Y'all not going to get it until you end up like that story, that news story. I believe it was in Chicago, Chirac out of all places, where this black woman, she ended up murdering, I think, two of her kids. And then she stuffed them kids in the freezer. And people were looking for the kids. People were crying over the kids. She done wasted everybody else's time when she knew what happened to the kids because the bitch killed them. And then when they found out it was her, they asked her what happened. Why did you do that? She was batshit crazy. She was trying to fight with the judge. She was cussing everybody out. She would look completely out of her mind. She looked insane, infuriated, bewildered. Looks like a little bit of schizophrenia mixed with manic. Like she looked tapped, beyond tapped. And then when you peeled the layers like an onion, you realize that she was a professional baby mama, that the niggas done left her, that she was impoverished, that she was in these streets, that she done had these kids young, that she was struggling, this, that, and the third. You don't get it until you lose all fucking sense, all types of common sense, until you lose yourself. And you shouldn't have to reach that point for you to put yourself first, for you to prioritize yourself first. You shouldn't have to wallow in the mud for you to realize that you're not a fucking pig. But because you will bet on your hypersensitivity, your codependency, which is dumb. Codependency in itself is dumb, but you being codependent to nakers who got a track record of being nothing? Child. And your trauma bonding, your low self-esteem, because you rather bet on all these things that mean you no good. You find yourself in such a fucked up predicament. And you can't climb back from it. Especially with these internet streets. Because before, you could change your name, you can go to another location, you can change your identity, you could just go to another state, another city, another country. People don't know you. But on these internet streets, all I gotta do is boom. Now I got your name. Now I know what you look like. Now I know what you done said, who you said it with. And now that shit follows you. So even if you do change your position, you do change your ideologies, you become mature. That arrested development shit, it stops buffering and it kicks the fuck in. But that's not going to change how people perceive you. That's not going to change how people associate with you. And you permanently mark yourself as an outsider. Especially y'all who are full blown pro black. You mark yourselves out as outsiders. And then when you finally realize that this shit is a cult, this shit is a scam, this shit means you no good, it's too late. Because the white folks that you wanted to expose or drag or whatever the case may be, these are the same white folks who A, are offended, and B, know you by your fruits, and therefore they've X'd you out. If we really want to get to the nitty gritty of things, if we really want to be honest with this shit, if there was no Google AdSense, if there was no Facebook, if there was no Instagram, if there was no YouTube, all these platforms owned and created by the white man, where would you be able to spew your pro-black cult shit? A lot of y'all are eating off of the white man while you critique and drag said white man. And you better hope white people don't ever get that ticked or hop into that hypersensitivity bag that black women need to hop out of and start saying, if this is how you really feel, bet. We're about to pack you up like sardines and then ship you back to whatever black country you want to go. Brazil, I got you, fam. Jamaica, I got you, fam. Nigeria, whatever. Pack your ass up and get the. You better hope that never becomes a thing. Because if that ever does, your ass would be grass. Because them folks are not going to look at you as my brother. They're going to look at you as other. And they might take your head off. Like they did in, what was it? South Africa, I believe. When they had that migration. I'll give you two examples in Africa. When East Africans, I believe, were migrating to South Africa because South Africa had a little bit of a better economy. And before those East Africans could settle in, bring their fufu or whatever, them South Africans literally started hacking them because they saw them as enemy number one. They saw them as how we, Americans, see Mexicans and people without any documentation. They're still in the good jobs. We don't hack people to death, or we as a whole don't, and that's not something the system would support because with paper or without paper, you murder somebody, your ass going to prison. Like that's just how it works. But over there, when they started hacking them folks to death, I don't think anything happened. I think it was what it was. It just was what it was. Perfect example was the Tutsis and the Hutus. Hacked each other to death. Right? So you think you're about to step in there on some Wakanda shit with your daishiki, with your what's that shit y'all do? With that Kwanzaa, with your pro black fist. My brother. Right. 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 Okay. Try that out and then let me know how that works out for you. I think I said everything that I had to say. I see folks watching, but ain't folks say nothing in the comment section. So I ain't gonna force nobody. This ain't church sermon. I'm not gonna force nobody to come up and give their testimony. I'm not gonna force nobody to say nothing. Oh shit. I done fucked up. Okay, I popped out the chat. Now I do see people comment. Oop, my bad. All right, let me respond back. All right, YouTube was tripping on my end. I ended up not seeing nothing. I was like, how you gonna be watching and don't say nothing? Like, who does that? And then I popped up the chat. Now I actually see y'all done said something. Let me respond. You are excellent. I missed the start. What do you mean by hypersensitivity? What I mean by hypersensitivity is like emotionally triggered. Everything triggers you. And there is no thought process. It is emotionalism. The fact that no one, perfect example. I'm going to use a recent example. I'm going to use an example that already passed. Jussie Smollett. Initially, when people heard Jussie Smollett's bullshit ass excuse, black people ran to the surface, ran to the front lines, ran to Twitter, ran to YouTube, ran to Instagram to be like, see, this is white supremacy. Da-da-da-da. Even when you're gay and black, they attack us. They hate us. You can't even go outside. Even when you're rich and famous. Emotionalism. Even when shit kept coming out that why was he outside in below 30 weather? There's no video camera of this. Well, they done seen him by his own rope. Like, he didn't call the police in time. When people were even coming up with the information like, hey, yo, mom, this shit don't even sound right. This shit don't even look right. This shit don't make no goddamn sense. Black people like double down on the fuckery. Double down on the fuckery. No, that's not what happened. We gotta stick with black people regardless. When white people lie, we still support them. We give them excuses. We give them leeway. No, we're not gonna not have his back, even if he did lie. Even if hypersensitivity. And then when it came out as a Fendi fucking fact that he lied, this shit didn't happen. Could have caused innocent white men to get mobbed up, to get bashed, to even be murdered off of Jussie Smollett's attention whorish shit. Black people still to this day double down on it. No different than when that Jasmine little girl got murdered in her mama's car while they were going to McDonald's. Black people said, "Oh, it was a white car. The same similar model belonged to a white family." And once they found out that there was a white family who had the same similar car model that shot up the car that killed the little baby girl. Oh, look at white supremacy. Look at white men. Now they're shooting up little girls. This is why we need came out. It was a fucking naker, a fucking gang ties and fucking naker who shot up in that car. Thought that he was shooting some other motherfucker. Ended up shooting the baby girl, and then she died. The same black folk. Oh, where's your privacy? You gotta take this black white man down. You can't trust white men. White men are attacking black girls. Didn't say nan nothing. When it was found that there was a fucking naker who did it, and it wasn't a fucking white man. Emotionalism. And that's the shit that's always gonna get you got because you don't critically think. When was the last time white people do motherfucking drive-bys? White people don't even fucking do drive-bys. That's not even their thing. That's not even their signature. That's not even their motif. That's not what they do. That's not their MO. That's nigger shit. But niggas didn't even think about that because it's emotionalism. If it looks anti-black, if it looks race baiting, if it looks whatever the fuck, you're gonna run to the front line to create your dissertation, to create your blog post, to create your YouTube channel video, to create some bullshit. No one actually processes, no one actually uses their fucking noodle to realize if this shit even makes sense. And black women be the first one, loud and wrong. Loud and wrong. Hypersensitivity, emotionalism. KFC said some bred for pedigree, some bred for consumption. Guess which group black women have been tricked into? No build a bears. No build a bears. Shit. My ass can't legit. No bullshit. I don't know how to build nothing. I can read you some instructions. I could, could encourage you. I could be a little cheerleader, but I don't build shit. I literally don't have that skill set. A bitch can type her ass off. A bitch can create whatever you need. I can do all things artsy. I can even argue you down. I can create stories and I can create book reports. I can do that. But a bitch can't fix nothing. I just do not have that trick. I can cook my ass off too now. I can also dance my ass too. But I cannot fix. That's just not in me to do that. If the instructions are more than 5, I'm already like, yeah, this is too much. I don't even know. Who can I call to come through and fix this shit for me? That's just not even in me. True, I used to True, I used to have the mindset of giving guys a chance even when I felt indifferent towards them, but luckily the bad feeling in my gut was too much to let me make a major mistake. And that's the shit that you need. That's the shit that you need to be like, you need that. And I swear, everybody has it, especially women, because women are naturally intuitive. Women are naturally empathic, especially black women, because we are from the divine. When you ignore that shit and you choose your ego, you choose your lust for phallus, you choose your need for male validation, the male gaze, you're gonna get your ass got. That gut feeling, that feeling of, I don't know, that I don't think so. I think I need to reconsider. You need to listen to that. That's not just there just to be a nuisance. It's not just there just to interrupt your fun. It's there to actually protect you. You need to be more in tune with that. If something feels off, if something don't sound all the way right, it ain't. Run. um, nah. We know too much now. There are smart teachers out there. A man who has invested much. You not the other way around. Preach, preach, preach. Can't look in the mirror. Ooh, what happened? Uh, Sister got with a dude who had three baby mamas. Thought she would be special when he got her pregnant. Nope. And the thing about it is, like, a man who got a baby mama, that's it. I'm all set. I'm getting the fuck on. I'm literally, I'm out. I'm getting myself and I'm leaving. You got a baby mama? I don't even know. I don't care. I don't care if it was a mistake. I don't care if she done trapped you. I don't care if y'all was in love. I don't care. I don't care because to me that sounds reckless. To me that sounds out of pocket. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in an already made family. I'm not interested in coming into this new relationship with you and already got to play mama. If I want to play mama, let me play mama to my biologicals. Let me play mama to what I actually push out my vagina. I don't want to come into a relationship playing mama. I don't want to come into a relationship understanding that I am not the priority, understanding that I am not put first. Because regardless of whatever the situation may be, if you are a parent, you must put your child first. And I'm selfish. If I'm not the first, then I'm not interested. So therefore, I could never be interested in a man who got a kid. Because that's automatically putting me in second position, and I'm not with it. And that's automatically putting me in a spot of playing mommy, and I ain't pushing nothing out of my vagina. So it's not gonna work out. Period. Go find you somebody who's interested in that. But men who got kids tend to want women who don't got kids. Why can't y'all be the Brady Bunch? Why can't y'all be a whole blended ass family? Why do y'all always try to go with women who don't got kids? Why? Because you want to fuck up as many women's lives as possible. And you want to be with a woman who don't got kids so she could be your quote unquote piece. So you can play half daddy when you want to, and then half free single nigga when you want to. And that's not what happens. Once you are the father, your job is to be daddy 24/7, even if you're not with baby mama. Go handle that and do your co-parenting. Leave us single women who ain't got no motherfucking kids alone. We don't want them type of problems. And that's on period. Gone before the baby was 6 months. That's usually the story. That's usually the narrative. We needed to get a complete down line of DNA. I could never breed with a black man. Machette's girl, yep. Let me see. Odds much better with white man, Asian man, ruthless. We see what's up with the Latinos. Nope. Knee jerk, social justice warrior. That social justice warrior shit is gonna get you fucked up. And if it was so good, if that was a prize, if that was something to hang your hat on, that was honorable, then why is it that black women dominate that field and no other race of women want that? You don't see Asian want that. You don't see Latino want. You don't see white women that want that. And you know, white women love to be first in everything. White women love to be the trophy, to be the status. White women love to dominate that everything that makes women look better. Hence why they love to sit on the beauty standard, even if they have to get a build a body black woman version. They got a Kim Kardashian themselves, right? So if it was really that honorable and that was really something special, then why don't these other women want to do it? Why don't they even the lesbians, even the LGBTQ whatevers, even the ones who are activists and advocates, they don't do that. They don't want to do that. They're not betting on that. If it was really such a prized position, why are you the only one doing it? If it was so good, it'd be like Miss America or Miss Universe. There'd be thousands of trying to compete for that number one spot. And look and behold, it's always a black woman. You gotta think, if it was all that great, why nobody else want to do it? Why ain't nobody else trying to snatch the microphone? Because nobody wants that shit. That's why. Uh, Made the social justice warrior look dumb as hell. Typical indifference when black men kill and abuse. I love this. We'll definitely share and be here for your next live. That's what's up, sis. The last few years with black men, black women were put into a cycle of getting extremely emotional, traumatized, always retweeting and reading stuff on police brutality suffered by black men. But the thing about it is, I mean, look at the example of Ahmad Aubrey, whatever his damn name is. You live in Georgia, right? Below the Mason Dixie line. There's certain places in Georgia you'll see dudes walking around with their Confederate flag, Confederate flag symbol on their cars. Still good old boys type shit. Probably got a whole clan robe in his closet. Certain places where it's still a sun downtown and I don't want your kind living here. Why would you be there? Why would you be there? That's like me going to an Asian woman conference specifically for Asian women, and then when they look at me and tell me your kind is not welcome, I'm starting to have a fit. I'm crying. I'm busting windows. That's racist. That's discriminatory. I'm not even supposed to be there. I was never invited. Why the fuck am I there? So why was Aubrey there? He does not live in the neighborhood, and I did my fact checks. You're not gonna catch me on emotionalism. From where Aubrey lived and to the place he was actually quote unquote jogging at, it's 12 miles away. 12 miles away. You telling me you doing a whole mini marathon just for the fuck of it? You gonna jog 12 miles away from your house just to jog 12 miles back for fun? And you jogging in Tim's, Timberland boots, construction boots. So you tell me you jogging in construction boots 12 miles away in khakis. And if you that athletic, you Speedy Gonzalez, your motherfucking ass. You what's his name? Bosan Bolt, whatever his goddamn name is. That's you. How is it that you couldn't outrun two white men? One was overweight and elderly, and the other one was a country bumpkin. You telling me that you can't outrun them folks? But you want Olympian in these streets? You run 12 miles a day, back and forth? I don't motherfucking think so. That don't make no goddamn sense. But you can't get me on that. You just can't get me on that. This shit don't make sense. This shit don't make no sense. This shit don't make. And you got a history of stealing. You don't got caught stealing at Walmart, which I don't know why you be stealing at Walmart because Walmart is where they sell cameras, and Walmart has several cameras in several angles. You don't have a felony, and your ass brought a gun to high school, so you just been problematic. And then on top of that, who got time to jog during business hours? Ain't your ass supposed to be at work? Where you work at? What you doing, sir? But no one want to ask them questions because the black man shot, white man done did it, race baiting. Oh my God, black people can't even jog no more. I can't. I can't. I just can't. I'm not going down this road of manic, this frenzy shit. I'm just not. This emotionalism. I'm just not. I'm not. I literally felt repulsed by him and ghosted him, as you should. Remember a week ago on Instagram, I follow mostly black women scroll through a post and post about Ahmad Aubrey. Yeah, He'd been in trouble previously for bringing a gun to school and burglary. The Naker had so the Naker has a history of stealing, but he had a construction site where the construction workers aren't there. Their materials are laid out wide in the open, and he just happens to jog in Timberlands 12 miles away from his home, and he's just stopping to stare at the unfinished property that he don't own, he don't live near. Y'all really gonna believe this bullshit? People don't do mini marathons for the fuck of it. People definitely don't jog in Timberlands. Timberlands are hard. They're hard because you're doing construction. Most people who, I don't know, most people, maybe most people in New Yorkers, most construction workers in New Yorkers wear Timberlands. The reason why they're hard, the outer layer, the leather is hard, is because if you're holding something heavy, like, I don't know, a hammer, and you drop it and it hits your foot, it's not going to hurt your goddamn foot because the leather is so hard, it won't even affect your toes. When you're doing construction, you're working with um, dangerous weapons, not weapons, but dangerous tools. And if you don't know how to properly handle them, or there's just freak accidents or whatever happens, you don't want to end up like cutting your foot open. You don't want blood all over the goddamn wood. You don't want that. But you gonna tell me Timberland boots, you running. So your feet is all hot and blistery and sweaty because you're doing it for 12 miles, and I'm supposed to believe that. With your history of thieving, your history of maybe not violence, but you did bring a gun to high school. What was you gonna do, Columbine? Like, why are you bringing a gun to high school? Um, and your history of having a felony, I'm supposed to just believe that you just showing up, just want to let people 12 miles away from where you stay at know that you're in existence. But when you say this shit, people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that because it doesn't fit their narrative. Because regardless of what black men do, they're always the victim. Always. Always. And that's why black women will stay getting their asses got by these makers because you don't even have critical thinking skills. You don't even put yourself first. You're always hyped up on emotionalism. You don't even check the facts. And that's why your ass will always get got. He will always tell you he's gonna wife you, he's gonna do better by you, that he loves you, this, that, and the third. And you're just gonna be a perpetual baby mama because at the end of the day, you don't even think, you don't even compare notes because you're lost with emotions. You're swept with emotions. The same emotions he gives you when he's pumping you and dumping you, the same emotions he gives you when he gives you a faulty story of him being the victim. And if you're truly scared, who's dodging a scary quote unquote white man, or scary racist white man at that, with a gun? If he got a shotgun, why would I be dodging him? If anything, I'm putting my hands in a up in a way that he could see them, so he knows that I'm not reaching for anything. That I am, I'm surrendering. I'm surrendering. Hands up, don't shoot. Can we talk? Can you put the gun down? Like, can we work this out man to man? That's what I'm doing. I'm not gonna bum rush you because trust and believe me, if Ahmad would have gotten that gun, he wouldn't have been like, oh, now that the gun is out of the equation, now that I've taken the gun from your hand, let me put it beside me. Okay, now let's just talk man to man. So why are you guys following me? What's going on, guys? Yeah, you want to get some broskies? I saw a brewery 12 miles back. Let's go get some beers. He would have shot them. That's what the fuck he would have shot them. Like, come. You just can't have these conversations because y'all like the fantasy. You like your Wakanda fantasy. The revolution won't be televised. It won't be televised because it's never happening. That's why. And if it does happen, it's gonna be on Netflix. But I don't want to hear that. Y'all don't want to hear that. Um, can't type as fast as your flow. Awesome, girl. I'm just a straight shooter. It's just all from the dome. Honestly, I was thinking about writing some notes, but I was just like, fuck it. I always sound better when it's just straight off dome. I don't know how to push the idea of black women putting themselves first and vetting men with younger female family members, because even a year ago, this kind of mindset seemed extreme to me. But the reason why it's extreme is because there's a deficit. There's a deficit of quality men. So in any situation where there's stress, where there is danger, where there is no consistency, the woman has to, or the female species has to take up for what the man lacks. And that's just across the board in the animal kingdom. When the man is killed or the man is surrendered or whatever the case may be, the woman has to take on the job of being the nurturer as well as being the defender. So that's the same thing you're seeing play out in Blackistan. Black women got to take on the role of being the woman and the man because the men are just inadequate. And the thought of black women putting themselves first, initially it scares black women because that means there is no need to preserve the image or the ego or the pride of the nigger, because the nigger's not even in the equation. And that's what makes it so scary to black women to put yourself first, because putting yourself first would be stepping away from that role of being man and woman, but also it would literally be cutting your losses with the nigger. And because black women's identity is deeply enmeshed with preserving the nigger's image, that's why the thought of putting yourself first is so scary. Because black women does not have their own identity outside of niggers. Everything is nigger. My black son, my black daddy, my black cousin, my black uncle, black, 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 black. The vagina is an afterthought. Your womanhood is an afterthought. Black, 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 black. Meanwhile, the nigger has no problem saying me, me, I. No problem. Black women, the collective, but specifically the black phallus. And that's the shit that really just irks people. That's the shit that really just turns people off when it comes to black women. Because you don't even have enough sense to realize that you should be putting yourself first. And you don't have enough sense to realize you're in danger. Like, do y'all know the most dangerous call for a police officer is domestic violence? And black women have the highest rates of domestic violence. And the reason why domestic violence calls are so dangerous to cops, because I'm gonna give you a little play, all right? So the black man's beating your ass, right? He's beating your ass. It's not the first time he's beating your ass, but this time you tired of him beating your ass, so you call the police, or your neighbors downstairs call the police because they tired of hearing your ass crying. No, Ricky, no, no, Tyrone, no. I'm sorry, please don't. So the police show up. Boom, 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 boom. Nigger says, "Who the fuck's at my door? Don't be knocking on my door. You don't pay no fucking rent here. Get the fuck away from my door." And the police is like, "This is the Chicago police. This is Chicago PD. We've got a call of domestic battery. Yo, get the fuck away from my door. Get the fuck away from my door. You don't pay no motherfucking bill." Police bust open the door. And he's like, "Oh, what the fuck you here?" And you start crying. And he sees you bloody. He sees your lip busted. He sees you black and blue. The police officer's like, "Sir, you need to come with me." "Oh, you don't know me. I'm a black man. You in my motherfucking house. What you gonna try to do? You gonna try to shoot me? I ain't scared of nobody. I ain't scared about the police. I've been to the jail." And the police grabs the nigger because he's out of control. Out of fucking control. Threatening, frenzy, manic as fuck, high, drunk, whatever. The police grabs the nigger. Because the nigger's moving is so threatening, the police has to grab him with force. And then the police tries to put the handcuffs on him. You, ah, don't treat him like that. He's a good man. He's a black man. Why is the racist police always trying to mess with us? Why are you trying to do that? Is it because he's black? Is it because he's black? So the police officer's like, "Ma'am, step away. Ma'am, get back." "No, no, stop hurting him. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. Stop, stop." So the police officer's like, "Ma'am, get back. Ma'am." So you grab a knife and you start stabbing the police officer in the back. And that makes him obviously in shock and in pain, and he can't even arrest the nigger. So the police officer is like, "Damn, I'm really about to motherfucking die from protecting this bitch because this bitch doesn't even have enough sense to leave this man who's beating her fucking ass. I got a wife and kids at home. I don't want to see my wife. I don't want to kiss my kids goodnight. But this might be the end of me because this bitch rather preserve the man who's whooping her fucking ass than to leave him and better herself. That's why. That's why domestic violence calls are fucking dangerous. Because even when you're trying to be the good guy, black women can't even play damsel in distress right. So while you trying to save her, she's trying to kill you. And once the nigga's free from the handcuffs, he can go back to whooping your goddamn ass. See, if it wasn't for you, the police wouldn't even be here. I can't even trust you bitches. You bitches say shit. Back to whooping your ass while the police officer blood just leaks through the motherfucking ceiling. Trying to save you. When you don't even got enough sense to save your damn self. Black is standing shit. Too many black women have continued to be loud and wrong with black men until now. Until now, but I'm be honest with you, for me to really have faith in black women to do the right thing, I need to see more black women be like, I'm all set. I'm all set. There's a small minority of black women doing it. Some of them, I'm be honest with you, they done got burned quite a few times and they're like, fuck it, I'm over it. Some are alternative black girls. Some were never into that pro black shit, so they don't care. But I see the majority of black women are either pro black identified or they're fence riding. And I'm like, you know what? You can fence ride. That's your prerogative. You can do whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, you riding that fence is not going to help you get a better deal. It's like black women who ride the fence or have a small flame for black men. They're hoping that they'll get the unicorn black man. And they don't understand that the unicorn black man, if he exists, is just that, a unicorn. He is not mass produced. He is a rarity. He is like a lotto ticket. But a lot of y'all, the majority of y'all, are betting on the same lotto. And maybe one of you might win. Maybe one of you might win. But the overwhelming majority of you will not receive said unicorn. You will not hit the jackpot. And you will wither away, getting bitter and bitter, weathering, waiting for this special unicorn maker. Meanwhile, you could have just divested and lived your best life. Now the collective is fucked. Yep. Individuals are woken. I hope for more. I hope for more too, but I'm being honest with you. I know this gonna sound real fucked up, but like I'm not even invested if the majority does not divest. If the majority does not divest, I'm not even invested in that because just like I think it's sick for black women to have a cape and try to rescue black men, I think it's sick for black women who are divested try to rescue black women because the analogy that that little play thing that I just did, you could change out the pieces, but the ending is still the same. When you try to save black women, especially those who are pro-black or riding the fence, they too will stab you in the fucking back as you trying to, save them. Let my people go. You trying to save them. You trying to lead them to the promised land like you Moses. And they will stab you in the back as well. Because that addiction to the black phallus is just so deep. That Stockholm, that trauma bonding, that codependency, that low self-esteem, that emotionalism, hypersensitivity, that shit is so deep. It's embedded in them. It's damn near their DNA that when you try to give them freedom, when you try to help them take off the rose-colored lenses, they'll attack you because they see you as a op. Because they're wired to believe if the black woman is happy, something's wrong. That freedom for the black woman comes with misery and pain and trauma and hardships and struggle. And anything that's opposing to that is not right. It's wrong. It's evil. It's the ops. So I'm okay knowing that the majority of black women will be where they're at because I don't live for the majority of black women. I only live for myself. I'm be honest with you. I ain't got no kids. I am not married. I only live for myself. And the lessons that I've learned, the experiences that I have, I'll share that. I ain't got no problem sharing that. But regardless of what decision that you make at the end of the day, that's your life. You're gonna have to live with the consequences. You're gonna have to live with your karma. You're gonna have to live with your baby daddy dramas. Not me. So whatever decision black women decide to do as a whole, as a singular, as partially, whatever, that's your decision to make. I'm not like these pro black women who are like, oh, you divested women, you squirrely women, you mammies, you better when you da da da. I don't who you fuck don't make me come. What you eat don't make me shit. So whatever you do, divested, not divested, mammy, pro black woman, whatever. That is your life. Those are your life decisions. I truly do not care. I'll sit there. I'll take notes. I'll critique. I might even laugh. But I promise you, I'm not waking up in the middle of the day in cold sweats thinking about, oh God, what are black women doing? Who black women are fucking? Who black women are mating for? What are the decisions black women are making as a whole? I sleep pretty well at night. I truly am not affected. um, there's so much criticism of divestment by other black women. Obviously, the community isn't perfect, but how is that comparable to black men? Man, I'll be honest with you. I've been on these YouTube streets for a hot minute, okay? I've seen a lot of people come, I've seen a lot of people go. I've seen these streets, especially the black sector, and Lord, I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that. None of that, none of that, none of that. Like all that shit, all the doxing, the drag, all of that, you can keep it over there on that side. I want no participation. I don't want none of that. None of that, none of that, none of that. Lord, I don't want none of that mental illness. I don't want none of that mental illness. Keep that shit over there. No, ma'am, no, sir. Um, I just think misery loves company. That's what it really comes down to. I really do believe misery loves company, and I'm not miserable in real life. I'm happy, not just on the internet. I don't have these problems. I don't need these problems. I'm not asking for these problems. I mind my business. I keep my nose clean. I give my critiques, and then I bounce. These are not my issues, and I do not want them to be my issues. I hear ya. I left and moved to Europe, married out, and walked away. Boom. That's how you should do it. In my personal opinion, I find European men very, very attractive, especially Western European men, okay? I find them very masculine. I find them very attractive. I love me a man with an accent. I love me a man who speaks multiple languages and just like there's just a suave, there's just a sophistication, there's just a masculine manhood that comes from European men and I just they chef's kiss. Like they just are top tier in my opinion. And can we go easy on black women? Do we really need to cancel each other, except in extreme cases of endangering and degrading other black women and children? I feel like there is a leeway because I'm a black woman. Of course, there's a leeway, there's an understanding, there's a love. But like, I also feel when you give people forgiveness and you give people leeway, they tend to think that you're either weak or that's another opportunity for them to sneak their way in. And sometimes you gotta stomp out a snake when you see it. That's just what it is. I don't hate you. I'm not gonna wish ill on you, but you can't come back. There has to be non-negotiables, and it has to start from somewhere. The reason why black women are in the predicament that they're in because they have no negotiables with their wombs, with their nakers, with how they conduct themselves within the larger society. They have no non-negotiables. And I think within these spaces, you have to have non negotiables. If you do something that is considered a non-negotiable, you do something that is considered you can't come back from, that just is what it is. I'm not sitting here plotting on your downfall, but you can no longer access me in a manner that you were so accustomed to that enabled you to backstab me. I think that needs to very much be a thing. But I think if a black woman like misunderstood something, or she may have conveyed something wrong, something minor, I think you need to check that and be like, all right, for now on, we're not doing that bullshit no more. We're gonna keep it rolling. But there shouldn't just be a I'm black, you black shit, because a lot of people try to use that against black women. I personally have experienced that I'm black, you black shit. So I should be able to talk to you any type of way. I should be able to treat you any type of way. I should be able to have access to you any type of way because I'm a black woman, you're a black woman. And that's not good enough. Because if we're gonna set boundaries with men, especially nakers, then we should be able to set the same boundaries with other black women. Period. Um, I always hear about great experiences when black women immigrate to other countries. If you can move and get treated much better, why not do it? Exactly. That's why domestic violence story. If black women are going to wake up, even black women can't be so problematic, toxic. I mean, black women. Yeah, and toxicity doesn't have a color. You see it in large sum with niggers, but toxicity doesn't have a color, doesn't have a gender. If you see certain traits in people, you can't ignore it. Because the more you turn your head or you give graces, the more it will come out. Like if you see a bitch is bitter and she's jealous and she's envious, there's no amount of like, I'll love her and I'll give her space and I'll tell her that she's great in her own right, that's gonna stop her from being that way. She's just gonna find another way to like try to squeeze you because that's already in her. You can't talk that out of her. You can't love that out of her. It's the same mentality is like Nakers. Like you can't pro black him out of misogyny or misogynoir. You can't love him out of anti dark skinnedness. Like you can't colorism. You can't um Malcolm X or Betty Shabazz him out of featureism. You can't. That's just who he is. That's his mentality. That's his philosophy. So I think I've been running my mouth for over an hour now. Thank you, ladies, for showing up. I'll do more lives like this some other time. I don't want to promise anything because I got a couple of things on my plate. However, I'm thinking of having two segments on this channel. I just want it to be more productive. I don't want to be like no shade other channels that just rant about things, especially like what nakeds are doing, what rakers are not doing, and all that other shit. Like I truly don't even give a fuck. Like I don't even relate to niggers on a regular. I don't even talk to niggers. Like, these are not my problems. But what I do want to focus on is having two segments on the channel, and one will be like kind of like Ask Alice. And if you're like a 90s baby and you watched all that, no, the Amanda show, there was a segment on one of her skits. It was called like Ask Ashley, and people would like send advice, not advice, but like questions and whatnot, and she would answer it. So thinking of doing something similar like that, where viewers or whomever can like DM me on social media, or hit me up on my email, or the comment section on YouTube, and like ask a question. It doesn't have to be public, it be private, and like tell a background story on it. Like I hope it'd be more meaningful, not like, oh, my boyfriend, I don't know if he's cheating on me. He told me that he loves me, but he's always talking to his friend, but this friend's a girl. Like, none of that goofy shit. Like, if you think the nigga's cheating, he's probably cheating, and dump him. Like, who cares? Move on. But something more meaningful, you want like advice on, or you want some type of clarity on. I was thinking that I would use tarot because I actually, am involved in spirituality, spiritual guys, tarot, and all that good stuff. So I would like answer your question or whatever the case is. You use tarot, whatever cards I pull up, describe how it relates to your question, and then like people in the comments or people who are watching the stream would give their advice, and then when it ends, you can always go back to the comment section to see what other people think. So like a kind of live question and answer segment, but with tarot. I was thinking about that, and another segment that I was thinking about was having like a call in where women, black women, can tell their story of why they divested. It doesn't have to be on some strumming my pain with his fingers. It doesn't have to be nothing traumatic. I mean, if it is, it is. I can't tell you your story. But like, she could just be like, girl, I didn't want these bum ass niggas. It could just be that simple. But I wanted like to have a segment where black women can just call in and be like, these are the reasons why I divested. And you know, keep it brisk, keep it brief. Like we don't need a whole monologue, but like black women speaking from their own point of view, because everybody got an opinion. The Nakers will tell you divested for these reasons. The mammies will tell you divested for these reasons. Everybody want to tell black women's story, but I want individual black women to call up and tell their own story from their mouths, from their perception or perspective of why they divested. It doesn't have to be a grand interest. It doesn't have to be, I divested, so you can divest too, black woman. It could just be like, look, my name is Sally. I'm from Oregon, and I divested because boom, boom, bam. No, well, it could be your real name. It could be a pseudo name. But I would like for you to tell your name, whatever name you want to go by, the state that you live in or country that you live in, and then your age. And the reason why it's your age, I want to see like, different eras of black women. It could be like the millennials, it could be Gen Xers, it could be older, it could be the boomers, it could be whomever. I just want to give like a variation of black women to be like, my name is rock paper scissors shoot. I'm 24. I'm from Mississippi, and I divested because of da 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 da. Like I was thinking of those two segments. Y'all let me know if y'all feeling that, if you're not feeling that. But I would like to do something like that. Good stuff. Tell your own story. I believe that. Tell your own story because everybody else want to tell your story for their own agenda. Black women are divesting, and what the swirlers are divesting. Well, the bedwenches are. Everybody got their opinion. Everybody think they know black women so well. So why not have black women tell their own stories from their own true life experiences and let it be known? So when people be like, black women divested because of da da da, they could always be like, well, on the Black Woman Vibes YouTube channel, there's a series of why black women divested, and that's not what they said. That's not what they said. That's not what they said. So they can't lie on you when you tell your own story. And that's just that on that. Um, but yeah. You can find me, of course, on YouTube. You can find me on my website. I have a website. It's called viesme.com, www.vieisme.com. Once, this page starts, moving and shaking and growing, I eventually want to take these conversations because if we do get deeper into our own personal experiences, I don't want them to be so public, especially on this platform that tends to be very toxic and very lynch mob when it comes to us black women, especially us divested black women. So I would want it to be a private space. And I know on my website you can live stream. So eventually I would like to take that over onto my website so you can share your personal whatever and not have to worry about being doxxed, about being hijacked, about people who don't like you using your narrative, your story, or whatever to their advantage. You don't have to worry about nakers pretending to be black women, but they're really naked. Like, you don't gotta worry about none of that shit. You don't have to worry about mammies coming in and trying to convert you back into pro black bullshit. You don't have to worry about that because it's our private space. Um, you can find me on Instagram, Black Woman Vibes, where I promote the Black Woman Vibes podcast. Or you can find me on Instagram, paint your truth underscore. I do tarot on that Instagram page. I talk about other trending topics and I use tarot. If you didn't know Lil Boozy, he gay. I had a feeling that he was gay, but like through tarot and shuffling the cards and asking the cards like what they picked up from the whole Boozy energy. Boozy's gay. He in the closet. He's a whole thugalicious nigga who has not admitted to himself that he like dick every now and then, and that's why he's projecting on his son. But I kind of broke that down on Instagram on the Paint Your Truth underscore page. You could check that out, and I have other videos as well. Um, You can find me on Twitter, BlackWomanVibes. I don't really tweet like that, but I'm there. You can also find me on Paint Your Truth, no underscore on Twitter. I'm there, but I don't really tweet as much. Um, and yeah, thank you for your voice. It's needed. Thank you, sis. I appreciate that. Um, Is it in your description? Your at Yeah, all of that is in the description. You could post more on Twitter, but at the same time, I understand avoiding stupidness. Child, Twitter's just it's an echo chamber. It's an echo chamber, especially if you follow black folk. I'll be honest with you. Black folk, especially those who are just pro black everything, it's just because the echo chamber. And even those who have divested, they're not even into nakers. Like when I tell you I've divested, Nakers are not even on my agenda. I don't talk to Nakers. I don't befriend Nakers. Like, I'm very Naker free. So even when you're dragging Nakers, it doesn't offend me as opposed to I'm like, I don't even want to see this shit. Like, oh my God, why is this on my timeline? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't care. I truly and sincerely don't care. So, I used to do Twitter. I had thick ass Twitter fingers. I used to and on my old Twitter handle, and I used to go in. I was active. I was active, and then I was just like, why? And I really had to sit there and be like, why? Like, we don't care. You don't care. This ain't it. Why? And then I had to sit there and realize like I'm feeding fuel to the fire. Because then it's like, what do you think about this? And yeah, girl, this. And it was just like, I thought we divested. I thought we don't care about Nakers. But we're still talking about Nakers that we don't care about? That's weird. That's very weird. How is it that we don't care about a whole timeline is based off of how much we don't care about Nakers? We care enough to tweet about how much we don't care about Nakers. Like, I don't want no parts of this. I don't want no parts of this. So I had to remove myself. Um, yeah, and if you ever want a tarot reading or anything like that, you can always DM me. You can always email me on my email. My email is VIECINEISME at gmail.com. VCNAISME at gmail.com. I have two types of readings. There is a 30-minute reading for 45, and there's an hour reading for, I'm doing a special now. It's 85, but you also get a life path reading, which tells you the things that you will experience in life, the things that you need to overcome. It will direct you towards your purpose, being more mindfulness and being more self-aware about yourself, about your family dynamic, and how to become a better version of yourself. So, with all that being said, ladies, be blessed, be enlightened, be loved, be unapologetically you. Don't sweat these nakers because these nakers, their time is coming to an end, and you just gotta, live your best life. You gotta prioritize yourself. You gotta put yourself first. Don't be stressed out about these nakers. Stay away from these nakers. Get yourself a rape whistle. Get yourself some pepper spray. Even get you a knife on a keychain or whatever. Let these nakers know that you ain't the one. And that, with that being said, y'all, I am out. Peace.